let's quit our business. GLAAD report says Meta Facebook is failing LGBTQ plus users. Major social media platforms continue to neglect the safety of LGBTQ plus users by failing to curb hateful content. Twitter is a perfect example of this. GLAAD's new report, named Unsafe, Meta fails to moderate extreme anti-trans hate across Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, exposes Meta's persistent shortcomings in moderating hate speech against transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming individuals. Covering the period from June 2023 to March 2024, the findings illustrate Meta's inadequate response to reports of harmful content that violates its community guidelines on their platforms. Despite GLAAD's diligent reporting, Meta frequently dismissed violations or failed to respond, allowing harmful content to persist. The reported material includes violent speech, targeted harassment, and calls for practices such as conversion therapy and eradicating transgender individuals. GLAAD's president and CEO, Sarah Kate Ellis, condemned Meta's inaction, calling it unacceptable. Ellis emphasized that Meta's choice to overlook these issues reflects a deliberate disregard for the safety of vulnerable users on its platform. GLAAD's report underscores the pressing need for action, echoing a June 2023 open letter by more than 250 LGBTQ+ leaders and allies. Last September, the Advocate reported on a Media Matters study revealing Meta's moderation shortcomings. Notably, Instagram's tolerance of groups such as Gays Against Groomers, spreading harmful anti-LGBTQ+ messages. Of course, the most pressing issue is whether Meta will take necessary action to protect the LGBTQ+ community. Well, considering the role that social media, and Facebook in particular, has played in recent elections, especially with this election coming up. This report is kind of disturbing in an election year as the far right continues to come after us sort of just nonstop. And it makes you wonder what it's going to take for Meta to protect its multiple, sizable LGBTQ+ community.
Yeah. So I think the idea here is Meta is the way they're policing this stuff is just through algorithms, right? And they don't really want to hire people to do a whole lot of work because that's going to cut into their profit. And folks, that's capitalism. Yes. That's what's ruining us here. Someone has to be exploited. Who's being exploited? We are. Because that's what's going to make the Zuckerbergs a lot more money. Now, what I think might be interesting, and I'm just going to throw this out there, AI might actually help with this. Because they won't have to pay someone anymore, will they? They could technically, instead of work with algorithms, they work on AI technology. Wow. And maybe in the next couple of years we'll see these kinds of things improve.
Well, the internet has grown so exponentially, so fast that I don't know if we're ever going to ever have the upper hand on it. Because as quick as it changes, the laws are 55 years behind. And you're never going to get the coalition of support to control that. I mean, look at what Europe's reaction is to Meta and others. They're trying to police them, and they're trying to, and I shouldn't say police them, they're trying to give them better guidelines that we have here in the States. And it's going to be years before that ever happens. So what happens in the meantime? It's just business as usual. And it was just announced that Mark Zuckerberg made $28.5 billion this year. So there's no impetus for him to change anything, as long as he goes to the bank every day. So the only way that the LGBTQ+ community is going to win this is by finances and the support of the community that loves us. And I just don't see that happening in this political market. And again, with the whole change of the internet as it is. It changes faster than anyone can control it. The tiger is out of the cage, and there's nothing to stop us.
Well, and not as justification, but think about the number of posts that they have to go through every day.
Yeah, and
I mean, there are
understand
billions of posts every day.
I understand that, but there are no real guidelines here in the state. It's like the Wild West. It's a free-for-all. And we were warned this 20 years ago when it all began, and we're still sitting here going, well, I don't know. What should we do? Well, you know, it is what it is.